Welcome, dear friends, to Cardiac Radio and the Spirit Society of Virginia today, as we are here together for one more inspirational and uplifting conversation and talk with you. Feel free to ask your questions and make comments. We would love to hear from you, interact with you. Before we begin the program, we would like to remind you that at this hour, as if we were in our Spirit Center at the Spirit Side of Virginia, the good spirits are counting on you and I to enter our homes and cleanse, rescue, strengthen us, nourish us. So count on it. If you have children, give them your phone, tablet, computer. Allow them to watch at the Spirit Society of Virginia's website, the Facebook page, the lesson that they are going to learn tonight. I don't think you want them to miss. Carol Correa and Daisy Gallen are there to lead them into a beautiful lesson today that I think they should not miss. It's about learning to express affection, and it's beautiful. So you can go there to the Spirit Side of Virginia's Facebook page and follow through. Also, for those who are in need of specific spiritual treatments, write to us at cardiacradio@gmail.com. We'll send you information. And then on Mondays, during the online spiritual care, the good spirits will be providing you and your family the needed treatment wherever you are. For them, there's no distance. They can come as close as they can to you and help you, okay? So right now we are going to ask our dear Paloma to lead us into the preparation for our meeting with our initial message. Paloma.
Hello, everyone. We're going to read a message from the book The Way, the Truth, and the Life, psychographed by Chico, by the Spirit Emmanuel. Chapter 42, Praise to the Good. But praise, honor, and peace to anyone who does good. Paul to the Romans 2:10. Maliciousness usually leads people to wrongful interpretations of the good if it does not stem from their own particular religious confession, their own work environment, or their familial community of which they are a member. Self-centeredness makes them believe that anything wholly good can only be done by them or by theirs. This is one of the worst characteristics of the personality. The good emanates incessantly from God, and God is the Father of all. It is through good persons that the Most High toils against the sectarianism that has transformed his earthly children into consummate combatants that commit pointless and bloody acts. No matter how forcefully spontaneous teachings from heaven convoke people to realize this truth, they continue their offensive, threatening, and destructive attitudes towards one another. Even so, the Father blesses the good wherever is to be found. It is crucial that we not focus on individuals per se, but that we observe and understand the good that the Supreme Lord sends us through them. What does people's outward appearance matter anyway? How does their nationality, name, or color really concerns us? Let us grasp the message they have brought us. Even if they are devoted to evil, they still deserve the good that we may offer them. But if they are good and sincere within their area of service, then they deserve peace and honor from God.
Thank you, Paloma. Thank you, friends. So we welcome each and every one of you who are here. I can see, and I'll say the names of those whom I can see. If you are watching us from another venue or listening to us at Cardiac Radio, feel our embrace. We can see here Daniel. Hello, Daniel. Thank you for being with us. We see Nora Brazil. Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna and family. John Del Rosa. Thank you, John. Thank you, Paul and Tony, for being here with us, sustaining this current of healing. Thank you, Isabella Almeida and family. Let us stick together. Stella da Costa. Thank you, Stella. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Sol and Luana. Big hug to the both of you. So, those are the ones whom I can see, okay? So remember, we're beginning a session that is beyond just a conversation, study, a talk. It's deeply therapeutic. So wherever you are, feel yourself. Open the doors of your house to the good spirits. The protecting spirits that you already have, they have good unity with the spirit mentors, the doctors, nurses, therapists of the Spiritist side of Virginia, Cardiac Radio, and they come to you to believe it. They come to help you, to help your loved ones, to help the house, to sustain this vibratory field, and even helping the neighbors. They love to help. Okay? So let us now raise our thoughts and feelings in wonderful vibrations as we pray together. Let us all now raise our thoughts to God in vibrations of hope. God, we thank you for allowing us to be here. There are so many hundreds of thousands of people who are no longer incarnated on earth, who discarnated due to the coronavirus or other ways. You still count on us here, and we want to be of help until the last minute. May this be a moment we'll never forget. A moment of deep awareness, of transformation for everyone connected to us. May they feel the healing energies that you shower upon us out of your loving mercy. The loving spirit doctors, nurses, and therapists who joyfully operate upon our hearts and minds, transforming feelings, thoughts, using our hands and feet to build the kingdom of God on earth. In your name and love, and feeling your protection and the good and joyful energies. We open this meeting in gratitude to you, asking that these vibrations that we build together be multiplied by your love and counterbalance hatred, despair, fear, and sadness. Enveloped by the loving kindness of your providence, we open this meeting committed to learn and serve more, and so be it. All right. So, friends, Paloma, Luciana, and I are going to be talking with you about the beautiful, beautiful parts from this book, Paul and Stephen, by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. This is a book that I would say, a book to read every summer and every winter, when we may have a little more time, because it's a reminder about the potential inside of us to recover from anything, from guilt to sorrows to hatred, despair and sadness and grief. It's a book of resilience and endurance. But today, we're going to focus on something that you and I need to know, need to learn. But on earth, it's quite hard. It's about being kind and meek, peacemaker, and strong at the same time. It's about Stephen. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the features. We often talk about Saul of Tarsus, Paul of Tarsus, but we barely talk about the one that made him become Saul of Tarsus. And Emmanuel makes justice in this book by telling us that without Stephen, there wouldn't be Paul. Why? Why? So let us see what he says to us. And I want to share a little bit of the story, not everything, but this is Stephen. He was the son of Joshadab. This chapter 1 begins calling afflicted hearts because it was a morning, and this man whom you see around the Roman guards in the city of Corinth in Greece was Joshadab. Corinth was a city within the Roman Empire, very powerful, and the Jewish people were second-class citizens. They were either enslaved or mistreated. Joshadab is the father of Jaziel and Abigail. His wife died recently, so he's a widower. He was passing by, going to the market to buy a few things. And Emmanuel explains to us, and this is year 34, okay? So it's a year after Jesus passing. And he explains to us that those times were terrible. Terrible crimes had been committed in the shadows, demanding severe inquiries. Much like the craziness that we see nowadays sometimes, that we're seeing in Minnesota, the abuse of power, the abuse of authority, not only that, but prejudices. It's a theme of ancient times. Prejudice, slavery, lack of consciousness in terms of human rights, sectarianism, fanaticism. And here we see Joshadab. He just wanted to buy food for his house. And there he is, one of the numerous families of Jewish origin who had been chosen as victims of the wicked extortion of the Roman Empire. He is passing by, and I'm going to read to you to see how pleasant this book is. The old man, whose facial features revealed that he was Jewish, showed that he was passing by the Roman guards, and he was aware of the ridicule being hurled at him. But he avoided the military patricians as if to protect himself by moving along more timidly and humbly in silence. At that moment, though, one of the tribunes whose authoritative look betrayed malicious intent approached Joshedeb and exclaimed rudely, "Hey, you despicable Jew! How dare you walk by without greeting your masters?" The old man froze, pale and trembling. His eyes revealed a strange anguish, which in its silent eloquence summed up all the infinite suffering that afflicted his race. His wrinkled hands trembled slightly. While he bowed respectfully, pressing his long, white beard against his chest. "Your name?" the officer asked between disrespect and sarcasm. "Joshadeb, son of Jared," he answered meekly. "And why did you not greet the imperial tribunes?" "Sir, I did not dare," he explained, nearly in tears. "Did not dare?" asked the officer gruffly. And before the older man could explain himself further, the imperial mandatory closed his fists and began pummeling the venerable face with successive merciless blows. "Here, take that!" he exclaimed rudely at the roar of laughter from his buddies, who were all in a festive mood. "Keep this as a souvenir, loathsome dog. Learn to be grateful and show some good manners." The old man reeled, but did not fight back. One could perceive a deep inner revolt in the smoldering, indignant glance he cast at his assailant with grim composure. He spontaneously glanced at his arms, wrinkled with struggle and suffering, and realized how useless it would be to retaliate. Joshadeb had bitter thoughts inside of him. The humiliation he had suffered made him turn his thoughts back to the most trying periods of history of his people. He started asking several questions about the persecutions against the Jewish people ever since. He kept cultivating this feeling of victimization. We're going to put a pause here for a second as I call our friends, Luciana and Paloma, to contextualize this to the modern times, okay? All right. All right, Luciana and Paloma, here we are. We are seeing right now, believe it or not, features that happened almost like 2,000 years ago. And recently, not only in America, it happens in every country still, but in America specifically, in the city of Minnesota, a big commotion because of this type of behavior towards a particular race. So we're talking about 2,000 years apart, similar behavior.
Yes. So
Mm,
when
right?
yes,
Luciana,
this
let me unmute
feeling,
you, Luciana.
the
Okay,
feeling of
that's great.
indignation.
Paloma,
Can
can you hear Paloma?
yes?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
I was saying the feeling of indignation, um, something that we don't approve of. It's okay for us to feel when things are wrong. We're not saying don't feel things are wrong. We shouldn't feel complacent, but that is different from the feeling of indignation, the feeling of those sentiments of anger that takes us from our almost a rational sense of mind to now being very reactive. It's like we're back into fighting mode and we're going to do this. And we're going to see that, in Paul and Stephen, for me, the best book.
Yeah.
Personally, if you haven't read it, go grab it this weekend. You will not be able to stop reading, but we'll see that the feeling of indignation really took Joshadeb to extremes, where he lost his life because of this anger moment that made him do things that, had enormous consequences. And we see this a lot sometimes, these passionate crimes. And people are just so reactive to it and end up in jail for the rest of their lives because they felt indignated because the wife was cheating on them and I'm gonna take charge. And that doesn't mean that we should be complacent. We definitely think of our what are the rights and our duties and be able to talk to it, but without the anger behind it. I mean, we don't agree with any of the situation in Minnesota, but we need to avoid the feeling of indignation so we don't have further consequences.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paloma.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that, like we said, 2,000 years has passed, a long time has passed, and it's still today the same problem with the government, the same indignity that people have between races is still happening. And people are reacting exactly as it used to be in the past.
Yeah.
We still don't rationalize, we still don't think about Christ, other options, and knowing that we are all the same, that we need to love and care about everyone, but we just think about the ego, the same old thoughts that we used to have. We still think the same way and going after revenge, committing even more crime, like just Joshabesh. He committed a huge crime that was it was worse than if he was just obey the law. So nowadays we need to really read these books to give us an idea how to become a better Christian, how to become a better person, because all these teachings has been here for many years and we still going there and doing exactly the same wrong mistakes.
Same mistakes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because Emmanuel shows to us that the minute he was insulted, he started feeling a cascade of emotions that characterizes this victimization, like many people are doing nowadays. We understand that what the police officer did to George Floyd is not right. But that doesn't justify that, as Paloma said, we go indignantly walk into reactivity. And then we start looting stores. And then we start creating chaos for people. Like I remember when I used to live in Baltimore, being somebody from another race in a city where 90% of people are African Americans, Many people thought that I was, also responsible for the many problems that the African Americans suffered so many centuries. And often I had to say, look, I was born in Brazil. Maybe I did something in a previous life, but in this life, I assure you, have nothing to do with it. And how many students of mine were African Americans, and they told me about what they felt and how people discriminated them. And I saw discriminations before my eyes. People discriminating people because they came from another race in the 21st century. So it tells us that we need to fix something fundamentally at family level, because this behavior, the prejudices, is cultivated first at home. So the question for us here, who are the mentors of the Spirit Side of Virginia, wants us to reflect, and also at Kardec Radio, is, are we teaching our children about prejudices, about racial discrimination, or discrimination of any sort? Because this is a thing that needs to be addressed around the world. Maybe you're not discriminated because of your race, but because you're an immigrant, or because you're a refugee, or because you come from a low or different socioeconomic status, or because of certain nationalities. Like when the coronavirus began, people couldn't see Chinese people and they were being discriminated for nothing. And there's still to come and to overcome. So we want to open this awareness that it's important, wherever you are, to team up with people in your organizations, in your schools, in your families, to raise awareness, because it hasn't been enough. If we were doing something, it's not enough, because we're still seeing the effects of discrimination, brutal discrimination, to the point that people die because they're being discriminated. Right? Gabriel Inácio is saying, people say I'm always on the fence when it comes to subjects like this, and also politics and so on. They say I would have to take part and give my opinion about everything. I wonder, what can I do regarding this? Thank you, Gabriel Inácio. We would say this: when it comes to human rights, there's no part, there's no side, there's human rights. What we're talking about is not politics. It's not about Democrats, Republicans. We're talking about human rights. We have to talk about it. We have to raise awareness. And usually people step into this brutality because they were trained at home to see people with such eyes. So we need to change the way we encode life to really help humanity come to another level of relationship. Right? So let me just show a little more about Joshedeb, what he did next, what happened to him, and how Stephen later comes with this beautiful model that is completely different from what we're seeing in the whole world. Okay? Let us just go back there, and then we'll discuss a little more. Bear with me, because technology is present. So let us then move towards these beautiful slides here, done by Projeto Imagem. We owe a great deal to them for what they've done. So Joshedeb comes home. He comes home. And it's so interesting, because when he comes home, he tells what happened to him, and he comes home after he's beaten twice, because when he comes back, he says hi to the guards, and the Roman guards are like, what is this? What an insult. How come you dare talking to us? So he is beaten twice on the same day by the Roman guards. But Emmanuel is teaching us a lesson here. He's cultivating this revolt and he's attracting the beating somewhat. I'm not saying that he's at fault. We're just saying that somewhat he is also attuned with it. So, but when he comes home, so beautiful, he hears Jeziel, his son, who is later Stephen, as you can see here, and he hears this voice that is like married to the joint of the sun. Jeziel Stephen is singing an old Hebraic song flowing from his warm lips in exaltation to work in nature. The generous melodies spoke of love to the land and the constant watch care of God. The father made an effort to repress the tears in his heart. The folk melody transported him to a world of reflection. Hadn't he worked all his life? Hadn't he been an honest man? Nevertheless, the blood of cruel persecution was there, dropping from his venerable beard upon his white tunic, yet free of any blemish that could torment his conscience. And then suddenly, his daughter Abigail comes from within and said, Father, Father, what's this blood? Abigail is only 18 years of age. And he says, what happened? What does Jeziel say? Father, take heart. Our God is just and wise. Let us trust his protection. Joshedeb contemplated his son from head to toe and gazed into his benevolent and calm eyes. He hoped to perceive at the moment the indignation that seemed to him natural and just, filled as he was by the desire for revenge. It was true that he had raised Jeziel for the pure joy of duty, in obedience to loyalty fulfilling the law. Nonetheless, nothing compelled him to abandon his thoughts of retaliation so as to avenge the outrage he had experienced. Son, now is Joshedeb talking to his son. The Lord is full of justice, but as his chosen ones, the children of Israel also must exercise justice. Could we be just if we were to forget the offenses against us? I could not rest if my conscience was not clear for having fulfilled my duties. I must point out the wrongs to which I have fallen victim both now and in the past. So tomorrow I shall go to the legate to settle my score. Jeziel added, surprised, are you perchance going to the quaestor Licinius in hopes of a legal settlement? What about what happened the last time, Father? Wasn't he the same patrician who confiscated your large estate and threw you into prison? Can't you see that he has the power of evil in his hands? Shouldn't we fear a new attack to extort what little we have left? Joshedeb looked deep into his son's eyes. But according to the rigidity of his character and accustomed to seeing his will through to the end, Joshedeb said almost dryly, as you know, I have both old and new scores to settle, and in conformance with the edict Tomorrow I shall take advantage of the opportunity the provincial government has given us. Father, I beg you, do not seek this recourse, said Jeziel between respect and tenderness. The old man kept saying otherwise. They read. Jeziel said, Abigail, let's read the scriptures. They opened the scriptures. Book of Proverbs. And the book of Proverbs says, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, nor resent his rebuke, for the Lord disciplines those he loves, as a father disciplines the son in whom he delights. And yet, Joshedeb turned to Jeziel and Abigail and said, I acknowledge the warning of the writings, my son, but I will not resign myself to injustice. And as I have decided, I shall take my claim to the relevant authorities. God help us, said Jeziel. On the following morning, Joshedeb goes and talks to the questor, Licinius Minucius. And the dialogue is completely there in this chapter. And you know what Licinius Minucius says? That he is confiscating the rest of his house. When Joshedeb leaves the room, he's so furious. When he's going home, he's passing by his former land, now the questors, and puts fire in the land out of anger, out of revenge. What happens next? He comes home and tells Jeziel and Abigail what he's done. Later, the Roman guards will imprison them. Before we continue the story and tell you how Jeziel and Abigail proceeded, we want to ask you, how would you feel if you were Jeziel and Abigail? Your father had the rights, but then everything turns the worst and you're imprisoned together. How would you feel? What do you think about this taking justice with our own hands? So I want to bring again Paloma and Luciana so we talk a little more about this moment for us. Because many of us feel the injustices and then soon after we retaliate and there are worse consequences. Let's talk about this.
Your question, Vanessa, was so powerful that I was like, oh my God, like, we've read the book and the question was like, what would I do? I think the human side of us, the very still impulse in us, I think I would be feeling indignated. I think the reality is that we're still, so human that if you saw your father being beaten, comes home, he made a mistake. Now we're all in prison, including my sister that has nothing to do with it, but she's there because she's part of the family, right? The three of them are there. Yeah. I think the feeling would be of, what can I do? I don't know if I would go as far as revenge, because I think I've been able to manage that, but the indignation feeling would be there. Very strong.
Yeah.
It takes Jeziel to teach us how to dominate that type of feeling and the resignation to God, that God is the supreme justice. And if we remember that, that's, I think, what would prevent us from falling in the mistake of wanting to take care of, the revenge with our own hands.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
One question.
it's very interesting because at this moment when you ask, is it came to my mind like, oh yeah, if we go in the very instinct, like Paloma said, you're gonna go in revenge. But then I wait and thought about it and remember that Mentor Joseph, in many of the books that we read, they say to us to think about before you reply, before you do something. So if we put it in practice, this process, okay, let me think about it. What is the best solution here? Then we'll be wise in making the decision. But if we're just going like with the flow, with the heat of the moment, you probably come home and do something very, very stupid, not right, right? We'll do something that is not right to do. And it just depends. That's why I feel like knowing spiritism, knowing this book, it really boosts us to make a better decision. Otherwise, if it was in the past, I tell you, if it was in the past, I will do something like very furious and like, oh my gosh, and then I'll regret for the rest of my life. But yeah, it's important to put in practice the teachings that we are having. Otherwise, we'll be those just like him. And it's still, I don't know what his life is going to present in the future to us.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't think about it and then just react.
Yeah.
So we're still in that exercising to tame ourselves, to mold ourselves to be better. Because even Joshebed, he had the teachings. His wife was teaching him in the past, but they opened the Bible at the time to see what they should be doing, and he still disregard. And that comes again, like that voice that always tells us, teach us, telling us like this is how you should do, but sometimes we disregard and like, no, but I want to do this way, and then
Yeah.
suffer the consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tough, very tough.
This stuff. And it's interesting. Let's stay here because I'm going to read a little bit about how Stephen and Abigail together push us to a new model because the father was obsessed by the idea of reparation and revenge. And you feel it because the people were brutal. They were wrong. Can you believe you're there paying for your home? Somebody, the government comes and say, I give you 24 hours or 3 days and your home is ours. And you're like, what? What about my family? I don't care. In 3 days, it's no longer yours. And
Yeah.
that's the situation. I mean, it's brutal, brutal,
Hmm.
brutal.
Yeah.
So he does what he does. He comes home. He comes home to his children, and I'm going to show here all at once so we stay together. And he shows that he comes home and says, my children, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but we have been spoiled of the last scraps of what we had left. Caesar's legate rejected my sincere and just claim and ordered the sequestration of our home. The unjust sentence is the road of our total ruin. According to its provisions, we must leave our farm within 3 days. And then all is lost. Why have I forsaken? Why have you forsaken me, God? This is what he's saying. How can your faithful people be free if everywhere they persecute and kill us without pity? Heavy tears are rolling down his eyes, and Abigail kisses the hand of the father tenderly. Listen to this, because Abigail and Stephen are a whole nother story for us. So she kisses the hand with the tenderness, embracing him with sorrowful account, comforting the father with love. This is Abigail. She's only 18. Father. And then Jeziel, sorry, Abigail kisses him, his hands, and Jeziel embraced the father, comforting him and saying, Father, why are you so frightened? God is never short of compassion. The sacred writings teach us that before anything else, he is the zealous father of all the downtrodden of the earth. Such defeats come and go. You have my arms and Abigail's tender care. Why grieve if tomorrow we can leave this house with divine help and look for another somewhere else in order to devote ourselves to honest work? Didn't God guide our people through the sea and the desert when they were expelled from their home? Then why would he refuse to help us? We who love him so much in this world, he himself is our compass and our home. This is the rationale. First of all, the emotional intelligence of Jeziel. He and his altruism. He doesn't think of himself. He sees a father who is frightened and goes to his rescue. Because when we react, we're thinking of ourselves. And this is called selfishness and pride. I am center stage, and my father is somebody else. When I am altruistic, I reverse. I go and I take care of that person. It doesn't matter how I'm feeling, but now I'm paying attention to how that person is feeling to take that crazy action. And he's so secure in his connection with God that he reframes the whole scenario and sees hope. My Lord. And
What a
then,
lesson.
right, what a lesson.
Yes.
What a lesson. He gives us the rationale that we need to exercise every day. How to see, well, if God loves us, this there must be a way out, he's saying. God's not going to forsake us. See the difference? Jeziel and Joshadeb, they have a completely different relationship with God. So the question for everybody who is here, how is your relationship with God? Is God really the center, like in Jeziel's case? Or is God just a father of a spoiled kid inside of us? How come you are not doing this for me? As if God is spoiling us. Very childish feeling, like Joshadep. And we're saying this with all the love and respect of our hearts. But deep inside, he's not really recognizing the greatness of God.
And
Follow.
it reminds me of, it goes back to, I think, faith. How strong is our faith? And to tie it with the family teachings, Vanessa, we know that the presence of God was very early on in with Jeziel and Abigail through the mom. Doesn't have to be through the mom, but that's how it describes to us that they studied together as a family. Of course, they're missionary spirits.
Yeah.
It is not only the case, but it is a critical part for us to develop this life with God being center stage, because the reverse of it is what we see all the time, amongst us, is that we are good with God if everything is great. And on the first challenge that comes our way, it can be a very small. It can be like, oh, my car broke down and it was raining. What have I done, God, for you to do that to me? It's like very small, and we already like our faith is gone, right? So, I mean, Jeziel and Abigail, that is not the case. They had God in their life as center stage, and in the moments of afflictions, God was still there. Unique and supreme love always. There wasn't a question of what have I done to deserve it, right? It's just so beautiful and good reflection for all of us, for sure.
Yes. And I want to add one thing. Jeziel soon after said, fixed his eyes on his old father in a deep and loving plea. His words revealed the sweetest love of his heart. Jochebed was not insensitive to those beautiful manifestations of tenderness, but faced with such trust in the divine power, he left ashamed after the extreme act he had committed. And then later comes Jeziel saying, don't weep, father, count on us. Tomorrow I will go myself to arrange for our removal if necessary. But then Joshedeb tells what he really did. That's not all, my son. And then he talked about putting fire on the lens. How does Jeziel react? He doesn't react. That's how he doesn't react. Jeziel is Stephen. You see, he's going to change his name later. But the children were stunned. Okay, that's normal. As they listened to him, displaying the true pain that their father's behavior caused them. After a look of infinite love and profound worry, the young man Jeziel embraced his father, murmuring, Father, Father, why did you lift your arm in vengeance? Why didn't you wait for the action of divine justice? So here's a question to all of us. In our daily lives, sometimes in our families, and we see this daily. Sometimes a child is not doing well at home, and they don't reply kindly to the parent. And the parent, instead of being understanding, they go and brutally reply or avenge or bully the kid, or even abuse, spanking, or saying words that are going to hurt forever. And it doesn't take much for people to go into this daily revenges. A friend, a colleague, expectations that are not met, and we're deep inside cultivating these bubbling thoughts. Oh, I'm going to make justice. And at work, in our families, and Jeziel is asking all of us, why didn't we trust, or why don't we trust the divine justice? Why do we have to be the ones who go there and avenge? Because God doesn't avenge, but he disciplines. John DeRose is saying Steve encountered his father's selfishness with selfless love remarks. Love it, John. Selfless love remarks. I want to read a little more before we open again for these reflections, because Joshedeb explained, it is written in the commandments, you shall not steal. In doing what I did, I was trying to rectify the breaking of the law. He's thinking he's a policeman. For we have been despoiled of everything comprising our humble heritage. And Jeziel added, with no anger, but Father, above all other commandments, God has carved the teaching of love. We are to love him above everything else with all our heart and mind. And Joshedab said bitterly, I love the Most High, but I cannot love the cruel Roman. Jeziel, with compassion, replies, but how can we display our devotion to the Almighty who is in heaven while destroying his work? So here is a message for those who commit abortion. God puts a baby in your belly and you kill the baby. Sorry to say it, but it's destroying God's work. Whatever we're doing against anybody who is, because everything is God's creation, we're destroying God's work. In the case of fire, we must not only consider the fact that we have shown our mistrust in God's justice, but the fields that give us shelter and bread have suffered because of our attitude. Moreover, and then he starts talking about the consequences. At some point, Jeziel looks at Abigail and kindly says, Abigail, let us recite the psalm our mother taught us to use during times of trouble. And you guys know the psalm. Number 23. Right? Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. They used to sing it. Sing it. So she started this beautiful prayer. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall lack nothing. And we're going to read this at the end. When Luciana is doing the passes, we're going to read it through. But Jeziel is teaching us a new way of living. He's teaching us to put our trust 100% in God. That's the only way to stop reacting, because we'll feel that God is ahead of us, taking care of everything. And we just need to understand what God is asking us to fulfill. But unfortunately, I have to show it before we come to the beauty, the climax of Stephen's teachings for us. The book is so rich, but we are selecting a few scenes here. What happens before we discuss the culminating point, I want to show to you. Okay, friends. Oops. All right. Soon after they are imprisoned, there's this beautiful dialogue where Abigail asks Jeziel, are you upset with that? And you want to see what he said? I want to say with my own words, but I don't think it's fair. She asks, are you grieving? Are you angered by what our father did? And they are in prison. And it's not like the prison of nowadays. Huh? Just a side note. It's a bad prison, worst prison we could ever have. And he says, caressing her hair, not at all. We are undergoing an experience that we must be most suited for our redemption. Otherwise, God would not have sent it to us. Wow. We need to bring Stephen every day to our lives. His sweetness, his kindness, his surrender, his love for God is so immense. He doesn't see the bad in anything. He's always seeking the good. And Abigail said, no, we mustn't be angry at Father. I was thinking that if Mother had been with us, he would not have taken his complaints. And this is what we call indulgence. She's putting sweetness into the Father's wrongdoing. She's saying, the father, Abigail and Stephen are fantastic. We don't have the power of persuasion that she had, always caring and enlightening our home. Do you remember? She taught us that God's children must always be ready to carry out the divine wishes. God's word teaches us to be good and kind. The good must be the flowers and fruit that heaven asks us. And she continued, and Jeziel said, God bless you for your understanding of his laws, little sister. What a beautiful couple of brother and sister. They are there and they are talking about their surrender to God. But unfortunately, the next day, she is witnessing the brutal murder of her father and the beating of her brother. The father is old and dies before their eyes. Jeziel asks her to sing to God. She does. The guards cannot stand it and say, go away. She's sent alone to the streets with nobody. Jeziel is enslaved. During slavery, after his sister found a couple to help her out, under this Roman ship, he is very meek, very peacemaking. In the worst conditions, he's telling his colleagues to surrender to God and to understand that God knows why you have to be there in that condition. To a point that he's asked to help a Roman patrician who is on board and is sick because of a plague that is going around. He's so meek, so kind and loving and patient. He's recruited to be that help. Through the help and his surrender, this Roman patrician is healed. But he gets sick, Jeziel. They want to throw Jeziel out in the ocean. But the Roman patrician Sergius Paulus says, no, he saved my life. You can't do this. And once he is there, they have a plan. Since he's sick, let's put him in the next harbor. And from Corinth, the ship goes to Jerusalem. And you think it's by chance that they are traveling to the very city where Peter is? He's left at the beach. Somebody comes to steal his bag, but ends up taking him to Peter's house. Once he is in the house of the way, Peter, the disciple, embraces him. He goes through days, weeks of recovering, having hallucinations, but talking about the Master and the coming of the Messiah, like in the Old Testament, in the teachings of Isaiah. When he's better, he talks to Peter and comes to know that the Messiah had already come. He reads the scriptures that will be later in the New Testament and gets to know everything about Jesus, as if he didn't know already, because unconsciously it was already with him. He's a Christ awakened mind. He's in the team of Christ ever since. He embraces his tasks. And later, we come to know that the Pharisees, like Saul of Tarsus, came to know of his fame, the healings. This Jewish who are proclaiming the teachings of a carpenter. Saul of Tarsus and friends are outraged, come to visit the house of the way. You see, small groupings like we do in our Spiritist Center. This is true Christianity. These large gatherings have nothing to do with what Jesus have come to teach us. And Saul of Tarsus calls Jeziel to a conversation. He's furious. And he starts a persecution against Jeziel, who now is named Stephen. Stephen is there visited by the teacher of Saul of Tarsus, Gamaliel. They come to see that the people are still true to the Mosaic law, though they embrace teachings of Jesus. But they decide to imprison them, and especially Stephen, the former Jeziel. He changed his name to protect the life of the Roman patrician whom he saved, and to make him feel like more into this unity with the new faith with Christ. Now Stephen is brought to the sentence. He's sentenced to death. Brutally stoned. But believe it or not, in this final moments of his life, Saul of Tarsus, who is commanding the brutal murder of this man, thinking that he is a threat to the dissemination of the Mosaic law, he brings Abigail, who is his fiancée, to watch his success in complying with the law. And she realizes that that man that is persecuted by her fiancé is her brother. And I'll read to you how it all happened, because Emmanuel is very thorough. He says here that Abigail says, Saul, it's my brother. And Saul, in a low voice, opened his wide eyes and said, what do you mean? He can't be. Are you crazy? No, it's him. It's him, she repeated, looking extremely pale. It's Jeziel. Darling, give me 1 minute. Let me talk to the dying man for only 1 minute. Saul, in ire, anger, said, impossible. So, for the love of Moses, for the love of our fathers, please, wringing her hands. Saul of Tarsus could not believe such a coincidence was possible. Just so you see the drama of the story. The bottom line here is that she's given a minute to talk to him. But listen to how, at the last minutes of his breath, Jeziel sees Jesus, says Emmanuel. At that moment, he came out of this dazed state. He saw Jesus sadly contemplating the doctor of Tarsus, Saul of Tarsus, as if to grieve his condemnable tour. So it's teaching us that we're being watched, but we have free will. We're respected in our free will. This was not the plan for Saul of Tarsus. He was not supposed to persecute or kill Stephen. He was supposed to be friends and work together like they will do later, though Stephen will be his best collaborator in the beyond. Stephen felt in his heart a sincere friendship for his executioner. He knew Christ, but Saul did not. Full of true fraternity and wishing to defend his persecutor, he exclaimed in a moving voice, Lord, do not hold this sin against him. Stephen turned his eye to gaze compassionately upon his executioner. And when Abigail comes to talk to him, he says to her many things. You read the dialogue later in the book, but there is a moment in which he says to his sister, he says to Abigail, don't think like that, Abigail. Speaking with difficulty, Jesus is just and merciful. He promised to be with us until the end of time. Later, you will understand. He taught me to love my executioners. And he asks his sister, with whom shall I leave you? And Abigail says, this is my fiancé, the love of my life. Pointing to petrified Saul of Tarsus. The dying man looked at him without hate. Without hate. May God bless you both. The love of your life is not of my enemy, but a brother. Saul must be good and generous. He defended Moses to the end. When he meets Jesus, he will serve him with the same zeal. Be a loving and faithful companion for him. Man, it's hard to read this without crying. It's hard, really hard, right? I want to bring Luciana and Paloma so we see here how it is possible. Because when we talk about Jesus, Paloma and Luciana, people say, oh, the bar is so high, the bar is so high. But now we're talking about Jeziel Stephen. And I know the bar continues to be very high.
To us.
Right?
Yeah.
But Mamma Mia, how can he be, imagine the pain of the stones, he's dying, and he's still feeling love and compassion and forgiveness, and unbelievable.
Yeah. It's interesting because sometimes people just step on your toe and you get so angry and furious, and he's being killing, like they were killing him, and he's being so compassionate and loving and trusting his sister to the hand of this man. Yeah, a lot of lessons for us to take today, tonight, and reflect and see how to be better, be more Christian ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Paloma.
And when he says that Jesus, has the eyes of, he's grieving, like he's sad with what's happening, but he's not indignated. That's a different feeling, right? Like, if Jesus is looking with sadness towards what's happening, because the plan for Saul was much bigger, as probably was for Stephen or Jeziel. But he's not indignated because he knows that divine justice will come. And it did. It did, because we saw how Saul went to Paul and how he transformed his life in the same reincarnation to fulfill part of the mission or the whole mission. Who knows what his mission was, but that he was able to change after so much pain that he caused.
Wow. Wow.
What a book. What a
book.
Yes.
And usually, Paloma and Luciana, we keep focused on Saul of Tarsus, but we skip those first chapters and forget that Stephen is teaching us a new way of feeling life
Yes.
because he puts God center stage. People are being brutal, and he's saying, well, if we're in prison, maybe it's because God wants us to redeem ourselves. But of what you have done nothing wrong. Oh, only in this life.
Yeah.
And he's always seeking the good. He's not reactive. So let's talk about the secret for us. First, he was learning this since childhood with his mother. Right, Virginia?
Yes.
That's secret number one for Abigail and Stephen. They learned about God being number one since childhood. Two, they learn not to react. So blessed are the meek. How do we not react? It's a lifelong learning. One thing we can say, we can practice, all of us, is breathing. Before saying anything, before doing anything, breathe, breathe. And feel this is God's breath He's giving to us, right? Breathe. Somebody says, that's my toy. And what do?
Just give it.
You're shocked, Virginia. You're shocked. Like,
Shut.
they take your toy and say, it's mine.
Hey.
And then you say, no, oh, let me breathe. Okay, you want my toy? Yes, I want your toy. Okay, I'll give you my toy if you want. Maybe God wants us to give, that we give our toy. Okay, I'll give you my toy. Right? Then you pick it up again.
Thank
I'll give it to you. So we breathe, and the second thing is while we're breathing, because it's like to hold the reaction of the body, we think, God, where's God right now? God knows. If God is allowing it, what's the good behind it? And start thinking like Stephen. So that's why we need to get the book, go back, and read the rationale of Stephen regarding his relationship with God.
Yes.
Right? Because when we believe God is on the behind the scenes, no matter what happens, we're always going to be renewing ourselves. We're not going to be caught up in anger, in sadness, in indignation, and never revenge.
Yes.
Yes, Isabella Almeida is saying lifelong practice is to not react. Thank you, Isabella. So true. So true. Let us breathe right now.
You
Yes.
have to breathe to live.
Yeah. All right, friends. So, food for thought, exercises for our immortality, the book for our homework. And I want to say, Virginia is dressed up in a lab coat because of the lesson you had
Yeah, we had a lesson
on the SSVA
Yes.
program. And
Yes.
and what was it about? Can you
It
tell us?
was about emotions.
Oh, like ourselves, we're talking about emotions too. But what is the take-home message? You can share with us the take-home message. Yeah, what is the main message of the lesson you learned?
I don't know.
It's like about controlling emotions.
It's not about that, but I know it's about good feelings and love and everything about love and stuff. So
Nice. Is there a heart work to be done with the family?
no.
Oh, no?
That's just the take-home message.
Yeah, you guys did the experiment
We
with Miss Daisy?
did like 2 experiments. Experiment 1 was to put an egg in water with nothing. It sank.
Whoa.
And then with salt, you put another egg in it, and then it floated.
Oh, what does that mean
So that means
about emotions?
so when we're in water, we sink because there's no love in it.
Salt is like love.
Salt is like love.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
That's one experience. The second one?
Those were 2 experiments.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
start without salt.
Wow, we need to repeat it, huh? You want to
Yeah.
repeat it?
Repeat.
We will repeat then. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you for stopping by. Now we're going to do the passes, right? I would like Paloma or Luciana, do you guys have the book there at hand, by any chance?
I
Yeah.
do. I do.
Yeah, because I'd like to ask Paloma to read the psalm like Abigail did to prepare for the passes, and then Luciana can lead us into the passes and the prayer.
I think it's page 36, Paloma.
36. Okay. I'm sure my voice is not like Abigail's.
We like your
I did
voice.
her voice being very sweet and tender. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He gently leads me to quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me on paths of righteousness, out of love for his name. Even if I were to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I would fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a love feast for me. In the presence of my enemies, you anoint my head with balm. My cup overflows with joy. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord for many days.
Now, Luciana, we're all yours, okay?
Okay. Beautiful. So let us close our eyes and feeling the love and trust in our Lord, Master Jesus. Let us imagine receiving the loving grace of Master Jesus, telling us that we are safe, that we are secure, and then He's always near us, helping us. He knows everything that each one of us are going through in life, and He comes here to affirm, to make sure that we feel His love. And as we feel His loving embrace, we feel the warmth in our body. And we can see this light shining upon us. dissolving all the energies that are not necessary and that is holding us down. This energy is being recycled and is helping us to be more free and lighter. We feel the expansion of our souls, receiving and absorbing all these healing energies that the doctors and nurses had prepared for each one of us. We receive the right amount of energy to each one of our chakras, making them align and rotating on the right direction, harmonizing our soul. And as we're being harmonized, re-energized, we can see clear this beautiful field of lavender. And as we breathe deeply, we can smell the soothing perfume of the lavender flowers. Let us breathe in and out this healing air, healing not only our soul, but also our body. Each breath that we take, healing energies are working and healing us. And this beautiful field is being illuminated with a special light of our Master Jesus that is with us since the beginning. Master Jesus is making this field even more brighter. We feel His love, care for us. We feel joy in our hearts. Feeling this treatment, we feel more calm and we feel that we trust in life, knowing that our Master is in control of everything. We breathe in and out. This healing energy. And as we are back to where you are. We'll call everyone to pray together, word by word, so that this prayer can reach the higher levels, higher spheres, to help even more people in need. Dear Mother, Father God, mentors of Cardiac Radio and SSVA, thank you so much for the opportunity of being here among loving friends, brothers and sisters of ours, learning all these beautiful messages with Stephen. May we all reflect tonight about his lessons so we can better live this reincarnation. Dear mentors, if we may ask for guidance, protections to all our brothers and sisters in greater need, those brothers that need care, the deep care that only you can provide it. May all of her brothers and sisters feel this loving care reaching their hearts. We also want to pray for every family, every household. May they mold their house based on Christians' teachings so they can better live their lives. We ask, dear Master, to protect every home in our whole planet, especially all those families that are going through trials and expiation inside their homes. We also want to pray for all of those in a power position, not only for the government, but in powerful position in which your decision will interfere with the other ones. We pray for those, Master Jesus, that they can make this connection with you before making any dramatic decision, not only for them, but for the other ones. We pray also for all the parents that are going through difficult times, raising the new generation. May they can find the strength and guidance in you, Master Jesus, to boost the love in these new generations to come. We pray for everyone, every incarnated and disincarnated spirit, brothers and sisters of ours, that you, God, know everything that they need. May they feel your love and your care and strength to continue living their lives in the best way possible. So this reincarnation be a successful one. And with your permission, mentors of the Kardec Radio, SSVA, we close the meeting of tonight, and so be it.
Thank you, Luciana. Thank you, Lu. Thank you, Paloma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Friends. Virginia, you have a final message?
Oh, yes. Friends, did you know that there was these Spiritist magazines? You can find?
Where? In the app? There's the app and the website.
There's an app and a website where you can find these Spiritist magazines, actually.
Yes. Thank you, Virginia.
Yeah, right? Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so thank you, friends. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you have any question or any need that you think we can be of help, count on us. Please write to kardecradio@gmail.com. We will try our best to reach out to you and see what we can do. And of course, if you want to help the task force, there's always a need for more helping hands. Thank you, friends. A big hug, and until next time.
Bye, friends. Good night.
Bye.